Joe, I am your uncle. All right, so hey Joe, what's up?
Hey, not much. Hanging out.
Hey, cool.
What are you doing?
I'm actually on a podcast, so I can come back later. Yeah, well, I was actually going to talk about. These movies I saw that about a civil war that happens in a desert. I think Sahara.
Oh.
Wait, no, it's a space desert. I'm sorry, I meant to say
Space Sahara.
Yeah, also known as the Phantom Menace. Have you seen it?
I have.
Do you know who the Phantom Menace is in my life?
Hold on. No.
Irritable bowel syndrome.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Well, today we're talking about the Star Wars prequels.
I think mine would be sleep paralysis.
Oh, okay. That's what your prequel is?
My Phantom Menace.
Oh, yeah. Also known as Attack of the Clones, right? Because it's like didn't you have a sleep paralysis where like you were in the room with yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's Attack of the Clones. And then, all right. So, do you want to talk about the movies now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we did the Star Wars sequel episode. We both love Star Wars. We're intentionally avoiding.
We'll get to those.
We'll get to the actual good ones at some point, but we're intentionally talking about the bad ones first. And when I say bad, I mean still good, but not as good. I think in that category falls the prequels.
Yeah. So the prequel trilogy, and technically, chronologically, the entire saga as a whole, I guess if you're not counting Solo or Rogue One, it's the beginning of the whole trilogy. And if it were the first movie, it'd be off to a rough start.
Yeah, I don't think that these movies ever would have been successful if Phantom Menace was the first Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Because to be honest with you, every time I rewatch it, I like it less.
Yeah, I hate saying that.
I hate saying it because they're so near and dear to my heart. I watched them so much as a kid and never had any. Obviously, I loved them as a kid.
Yeah. But
every time I rewatch Phantom Menace as an adult and Attack of the Clones, I like them less. I have the opposite. The opposite thing happens with Revenge of the Sith. However, that movie just gets better.
I know. I really love that movie.
Yeah, it's really good. It's on par with the original trilogy. But the first two, rocky stuff. So, for those of you non-Trekkies out there, Star Wars is a movie that came out in 1977, and it was created by George Lucas. And he made three. Well, he directed the first one, and then he made, produced and wrote a couple more.
Mm-hmm.
A couple little indie films called Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, and it changed every kid in the world forever. And then the 90s roll around. He starts thinking, I want to fill out the rest of this story that I intended to tell and go back and do a trilogy before. And what ended up happening was that he kind of failed really badly. And it's because the original trilogy was great because it was collaborative and a whole lot of people around George Lucas helped him make his vision a reality.
Yeah.
And then when he made the prequels, he was an established cinema genius, trademark, and nobody questioned any of his decisions. And so whenever he said he wants a giant talking frog to follow the main characters around the whole movie, everyone said, okay, we'll make that happen. We'll put a CGI frog man in the movie.
Yeah. And he didn't have somebody like his wife. But they were divorced at that point, right?
I think so.
He didn't have somebody like his wife editing the film and saying,
right.
Well, I mean, there's nothing really happening. Why do I care about these characters? That's the whole reason the whole Death Star sequence in the original one coming around Yavin and threatening the base was so monumental. It's adding pace to the movie.
And here's the main problem with it, okay?
Yeah.
Every time I rewatch it, I'm like, man, there's a lot of little things that could be better. But the main thing that's wrong with it is that there is no protagonist.
No.
There is not a protagonist in this movie. Attack of the Clones kind of... I think in the second two, it's kind of supposed to be Anakin.
Yeah.
But he's not a good protagonist because you don't care for him because he's just whiny and annoying.
Yeah.
And in the first one, there's no protagonist. You're introduced to a whole lot of characters, and none of them have personalities.
Yeah. And I think it's the life of Darth Vader. Darth Vader's origin story.
Yeah.
That's cool. But it really focuses on the relationship a lot more of like Anakin and Obi-Wan.
Ideally. Yes.
And I don't even think it does that very well.
No, and so, well, I guess what the prequel trilogy should have been is it should have started where Attack of the Clones starts. They should have just ignored the little kid stuff.
Yeah.
Start where Attack of the Clones starts and make Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith 3 movies and actually make Anakin and Obi-Wan like each other for the first 2.
Yeah.
Make them build a relationship instead of just having them hate each other from the beginning and then expecting you to feel something whenever they try to kill each other. It just didn't work. And also, Obi-Wan's character makes no sense in The Phantom Menace. I don't know. There's a lot of little things. But as a whole, I still really enjoy the movie. I think it did a lot of stuff right. People always say when they talk about Phantom Menace that everything that's already needs to be said about Phantom Menace has been said in the Mr. Plinkett Red Letter Media review, because that's like the ultimate review. And it really has, but one of my favorite segments of that video is when they interview people, and he's like, describe, without using physical appearance, describe Han Solo, describe Luke Skywalker, describe Princess Leia, and they give these robust, like, character, like, this is how this character is, and then they'll say, describe Qui-Gon Jinn, and there's just nothing. There's just blank, because the characters in this movie don't do anything. They have no traits. But it's not as bad as people say.
No, I agree. I think it definitely doesn't live up to the hype of the original trilogy, or even where the saga went. I think this is kind of the low point of the entire saga, is the first 2 of the prequel trilogy. First one, not great. On its own, I'd probably give it like a 47.
Yeah, I think I'd give it somewhere in the 40s, just by itself.
Yeah.
Now, it does have the coolest climax. Maybe not of any of them, but the final scene with Darth Maul, Qui-Gon, and Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a great scene. But I feel like I shouldn't have to say the whole movie's boring until you get to this scene, because then that means it's not a good movie. But it is. It's just that the good is sprinkled throughout the why did they put this in here kind of stuff.
Maybe 47.
I'd probably honestly give it like a 35 by itself, just because I still think there was so much interesting stuff that it did.
Yeah.
Space politics might have been boring, but I think it was kind of cool.
39.
Okay, there we go. Let's talk about Attack of the Clones.
Okay, so this one actually kind of annoys me, because the first act of this movie is good. The
first third of Attack of the Clones is awesome.
It's
really good. The attempted assassination, the tracking down the bounty hunter, and the going to Camino, and all this stuff, and there's a planet missing. Cool. Like, really, really cool. And then it tricks you. It gets really bad after that.
Yeah. It gets real bad.
I think the second half of Attack of the Clones is the worst of any Star Wars media.
Yeah, it's
the low point. I think it's worse than Phantom Menace.
I do too. The second half of that movie is worse than Phantom.
Also, I just want to clarify, because we've done 2 Star Wars episodes now, and we're kind of just trashing the movies. I want you to understand how this is coming from a place of love. We're still giving these good scores, but because we still love these movies. We wouldn't care enough to criticize them if we didn't think they could have been a lot better.
And you can't like these movies and not hate on them.
Yeah, that's just how it is to be a Star Wars fan. You have to hate the movies you love. But I do think Attack of the Clones is the worst Star Wars movie.
It's really aggravating.
Yeah, and it starts off so strong. That's what's so hard about it.
Yeah. So that one would probably I'd probably give like a 44.
Man,
because that's actually,
I'd give it like a 48.
Because that whole factory scene, the cartoon video game scene,
that is the worst.
It's so miserable.
It's actually the worst. The obstacle course in the factory.
I hated that. Revenge of the Sith
Okay.
is really good.
Revenge of the Sith is easily the best in the prequels, and I think it's actually better than Return of the Jedi.
I agree.
I love Revenge of the Sith.
I did a speech, my speech class freshman year about that.
Yeah, I know you did.
That was my final.
It's a great movie, though. Like, that is what the prequels should have been, right? That movie focuses on Anakin and Obi-Wan's relationship and how it falls apart and the fall of the Jedi
Yeah.
and how we ended up where we are.
Something else really aggravating about that movie is that their relationship is really put to the test in that at the end of the movie. But here's the thing. If I were to watch the first two movies, I wouldn't really care.
No, because they never had a good relationship to
No.
begin with. The only way it has emotional weight is if you watch Clone Wars.
Yeah.
The
Which
show.
is so good.
Yeah, I've heard it's good. But anyway, okay, before we talk more about these, we got to talk about the Jar Jar theory. It's just the elephant in the room. I got to talk about it.
Misa don't want to.
Well, I am going to.
Okay.
So, Jar Jar, right?
Yeah.
Worst character,
Well,
besides Rose.
Nah.
What? Oh, you just don't want to talk about it?
no, I disagree with you.
Oh, who's the worst character?
Oh, I don't know. He's not the worst. I
Oh,
think he's pretty solid.
really?
Yeah, I don't think he's like top 5.
Oh my gosh.
I think he goes Kit Fisto,
Okay.
Finn.
Yeah. These are
That,
your top 5 Star Wars
yeah,
characters.
that one lottery monster thing from Last
Jedi,
Jedi.
Okay. The one that spits coins at people?
Yeah.
Okay.
Farty Camel thing from Phantom Menace.
Ooh, Fart Camel. I forgot about him.
Did I say Qui-Gon?
No.
Qui-Gon?
Oh, the Sebulba.
Sebulba is really good.
Yeah. And then the weird looking things from Bespin in Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Put C-3PO back together.
Those things.
Or take him apart.
The Gonk droid.
Ooh, Gonk droid. Gonk.
And then probably Jar Jar.
Okay, cool.
And then Obi-Wan.
So ignoring all that, there's this popular fan theory that Jar Jar was originally supposed to be a Sith Lord when in Phantom Menace, and that's why it's called the Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
Because that title makes no sense unless there's a secret Sith Lord, which I mean there is. There's Palpatine, so whatever.
Yeah.
But I think there's a popular theory that Jar Jar was originally supposed to be a Sith Lord, and I actually think I think it's true, in the sense that I do think that was the original intention, and I think after the backlash to that character was so intense, George Lucas changed his mind, and that's why Count Dooku is a boring character who just got inserted with no backstory.
Yeah.
Because he was meant to replace Jar Jar was supposed to be Palpatine's apprentice, I think, originally. Yeah. That's why he's just happens to be at the center of everything important that happens.
Yeah,
creating
and
war.
He's so adept at everything he does.
Yeah,
even though
he comes across as bumbling, and then him talking about how everything is supposed to rhyme the original trilogy. Everything is supposed to mirror the original trilogy.
Poetry.
Right, it's like poetry. It rhymes. Jar Jar would have been the Yoda, just the inverse of it, because Yoda is like, "Oh, look, I'm a bumbling idiot, goofy creature, comic relief," and then turns out, no, I'm actually really dangerous and powerful, and that was supposed to be the big reveal. But I think he changed his mind, and I think it's part of the terrible things about Phantom Menace could have been redeemed if he had stuck with it. I would have forgiven it because I would have thought it would have been worth it. If Jar Jar was a Sith Lord, and I'm gonna put that on my tombstone. I'm gonna die with that belief.
Yeah.
All right, Joe, give me a number for Revenge of the Sith.
Like 15. Significantly higher than the other two. Even though their relationship is kind of crap, like I think the movie is still really good. I really liked it.
I'm gonna put it in the exact same spot. Nope, 15.1. Just so I can say I'm different.
15.0.
Okay.
Big baby alert. Wah, wah, wah. I cry every time I watch it.
Oh, I cry in Revenge of the Sith. Absolutely. Do you know who else cries?
Who?
Me. When people don't call us at 918-268-6337 to leave us a voicemail to be heard on the show.
Or not.
Or not qualified. Also, you should really... I'm not usually the pushy, beggy kind of guy, kind of type. If you've been listening to this and you haven't left us a review on Apple Podcasts, you're kind of hurting my feelings.
Yeah, he's got some big baby feelings.
Yeah, I've just kind of got a big da baby feelings. Let's go
review us on
Apple Podcasts. Please leave us a 5-star review. Buy some merch at zephfoster.com/podcast, and leave us a voicemail. All 3 of those things you could do right now without getting up. How hard is it?
Yeah, not hard. Was that the answer I was supposed to give?
Yeah. Good job.
Not hard.
You know, you only knew that because of all your midi-chlorians.
Which are over 9,000.
Whoa.
Whoa. How old is that?
Joke. Over 9,000?
Yeah.
I don't remember it not existing.
Yeah.
All right. See you next time.
Yeah.